What's going on YouTube? This is Kevin the channel. We are back with another video. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. I enjoyed my weekend doing absolutely nothing. I believe it snowed. Yeah, I think it snowed a little crazy. But yeah, speaking of nothing, nothing except for I got a bunch of clothes together. I straightened the hell out my room somewhere. And, you know, yeah, that's what it is. But I was tired yesterday with the clock going with us in the house. So I tried to, stay up thinking if I stayed up and I go to sleep in bed, it just still didn't work out because I woke up later in the day and it's like, man, it's not like the day is almost over. Try to watch my wrestling. You ever sleep like you should? Yes. Because I stayed up late, like, I tried to stay up all night. What did you guys do too? Then I took a season to reboot. Yeah. So I fell asleep during my wrestling. Then I woke up and I watched Tyler Perry's The D's Game Reunion. Then I ended up watching the 30 Production Team. And then I ended up watching because I ain't know my book. And I watched the 30-minute break. And I also watched Shy. But I was falling asleep in and out. So today I felt like, okay, my body is like around 1 o'clock. I'm like, what? Man, 1 o'clock turns to 2 o'clock. I'm like, damn, I got one playing. I'm not even there for anything. So, I'm just like, man, sometimes it's time to stuff up. She had a lot of sleep. I'm like, yeah, here. So tonight I'm definitely going to get some more sleep because I know I haven't even eaten again. And then when I'm eating and then editing and then wrestling is on, and wrestling is 3 hours is too much to try to, it's a lot. I wish I had that, no problem. I can't do that good work. But it's still and yesterday, on Sunday, I actually got up on time. So, for church. I actually got up the usual time that I get up is around 8 o'clock. I got up around that time. It didn't jump out. I don't see what it is to go fair. No, everything you want to say. It's so fair to speak. It's when the show got here, it was 5 something. It's quarter of the picture. So, for plus, I had to watch The Shy, and I'm going to you're watching us for the first time, please click that subscribe button. If you've just been watching us and haven't subscribed, they have they'll you know, I still got close to this time just I need to get up. I don't know why I hold on to stuff. I just do get up. But yeah. So if you watch it it's fun, you know. But I'm not ready for that. And actually some of my programs I don't really much. So like seeing my shirt, I'm like, oh, I'll be at the river. I got a shirt fight for my right foot, and I go to the George the game. I'll wear the shirt. Anyway, actually, two things. I was worried for so far. Yes. Yeah. Woo. Oh, he mad at me. Yeah. Oh, he mad at me. Yes, I remember. Yes. I remember. What year will we coming into? 2012, 2013. I was just, oh yeah, that's good. I did everything, yeah. So, everything was prepared one yes, man. God was not listening. And I feel it. And I feel that all this time, like all this party, all this other stuff today, people were so good about okay. Ain't nobody couldn't come to the hotel room and complain. I didn't down. Shit. I ended up going to one of the clubs. It was just the best. Like, I was so good walking. Just walking down the street, 4th Street, it was a north south. Oh, it was a project. And it was cool. So, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors who sponsored our channel over the weekend, starting with Graphics Bruno, Sharice Thomas, Prudence, S. Scott, Brianna Renee, Just Us Cambridge. I hope I looked at it. If I didn't get it right this time, you won't get it right next time. Renee and JG, shout out to our sponsors here at our live stream next Wednesday at 6 p.m. So hopefully you guys can show up. And for those who did not hear, the Scorpion Show is 10th year anniversary show is August 11, 2018. Now I know that for those who like trying to come from Chicago, Beyonce and Jay-Z fucked up y'all fans because they have a show on August 7th. But let me tell you all this, go to the show, but still wear your damn tickets, you know, and your flight, carry that same energy from Beyonce and Jay-Z show, and bring that shit to Philly when we see y'all on August the 11th. For tickets information, that will be coming soon, but a lot of people have been asking, well, when is the date, because they be trying to request all. So for everyone requesting all, please make sure that you put in your date, put in the date, August the 11th, 2018. For those asking about hotels, anywhere you stay in Center City, Philadelphia, it will be easy for you to get to the venue, which is to be determined. If you want to do an Airbnb, I'm not really crazy about Airbnbs in Philly. I would say just get a hotel. But if you bring a couple of friends or whatever, and y'all find a nice place on Airbnb, go ahead and do it. You can stay in like Fairmount, the Fairmount section, Spring Garden section, maybe Center City in a nice penthouse. I don't know, but you know, I wouldn't stay in Germantown because Germantown is a little too far away. I wouldn't stay in West Oak Lane because that's so far away. Just stay like in North Philly.
There's no hotels in West Oak Lane.
No, I'm talking about
Airbnb.
Yeah. So I'm trying to stay. I mean, they got some fabulous houses, but it's going to take a while to get to the city from that area. Or you want to take the Lincoln Drive. What's it called?
I don't use it.
Kelly, yeah, whatever it's called. And it's curvy, so I mean, you gotta drive that curve or go around curves. Some of y'all used to curves. I don't know. If you like safaris, then you like curves. So let's just get into this video.
Can we start with what we have?
We can start with Iyanla because I don't want to talk about the second episode yet because I need to rewatch that one.
Oh.
Because there was a lot going on with
it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Hold on.
Alright, so then we can just talk about Memphis.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk about Iyanla.
Or if you guys have something you want to say about the Brothers episode, then,
I'll wait until you see it.
Yeah.
I'll wait until you see it.
I watched it, but I just was like, I had to watch this shit again. But for Memphis, that was just one episode, and I was like, wow. That episode stuck with me. And, because, Iyanla all of a sudden is like, it's not about the celebrity. Like, that's not the point. It's the person and how it relates to others. And when I watched that episode, I was like, ooh, that's me. Not with just the outburst, the anger, but just like not really having that closure with the death of my father. And I'll get to that in a little bit, but we can get to Memphis' story. So his mother wrote Iyanla saying like, Iyanla needs to save her son before he loses his life. He was at a high in the music industry, and ever since the K. Michelle stuff came out and the stuff with Toya Wright, his value in the music industry is going down, and it's been taking a toll on Memphis. And what we found out is that in 2001, Memphis' father was killed by a member of the Ku Klux Klan. He was shot, dismembered, and set on fire. And it was just to the point where they couldn't even have a funeral. And I think it took them years to find his body. 3 years. 3 years.
No, I don't think they ever found his body. I think it took them at least about 3 years to finally determine what happened to him. But they never found his body.
Yeah.
That's why she was saying that they never had any type of service or anything like that, or any type of funeral, because they never found his body. It took them 3 years, I think, to determine exactly what exactly happened.
Yeah, I wonder how they found out that man did that. Yeah. So Iyanla was talking to her and to the mother, and the mother was saying that she didn't let them come to the court cases and stuff like that. And Iyanla was like, beloved, what are you doing? Like, you should have let them come, because that way they could have had some kind of closure. She felt like she was protecting them, but she really was harming them in the process and their grieving process, for them to get over what happened. They never, got a chance to get through that.
And that's the part I related to. I related to because my friend and I were watching it, and when that scene happened, I told him, I said, I relate to this part so well because when my grandmother died, I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. Mm-hmm. So it bothered me. It even still bothers me today. And finally, one day, about a year or two ago, me and my mom, we had a conversation about it, and I just said, as close as I was to her, I should have been allowed to go to her funeral. And my mom said, because I was so young, and because I was so young, and because I was so close to her, she didn't want me to see her in a casket. You know what I mean? She didn't, but not realizing that it was going to have an effect. You know what I mean? And my mom was saying, had she known that it would have had that type of effect, she would have allowed me to go. And I understand, my mom, so because she was just protecting me because I was just a child. I was only 7 years old, but the whole psyche of it, because I remember I was talking to one of my uncles recently, my uncle and my aunt, and I remember my uncle was saying to me, he said, because my grandmother called, her name was Bill, and he said after Bill died, he said everybody in the family just kept saying, how does Mikkel want to take this, because I was so close to her. And he said that he remembered my mom used to tell people, they would ask, oh, he's doing fine. But in reality, it's because the last time I remember my grandmother was, I was leaving out of her house, and I was walking down the steps, and she was saying something to me, and I can't remember quite what it was. And then the next thing I remember, my mom coming to my room saying she died. So it was like, she's alive and then she's dead, and then you don't get to see her being dead because you still remember her being alive. So it was just like, so I just, to me, because I am someone who has experienced that, I would agree with Bianca. You have to let your kids have that closure, especially when they're young, because if not, then they're going to have this. It's going to be fucked up. And so I really sided with Memphis, and I felt bad for him. I understood the mother's position, like she wanted to protect, but then I also understood where Yana was coming from, because I too was in that position. It was like, if you don't allow your kids to have that closure, they're going to have a lot built up, and it's unfortunate because you would think that you are doing something by protecting them, but in the end, you're actually doing more harm than protection. So,
yeah. So, but what I loved about Memphis' mom is that she wasn't being combative. She was just really open to doing the work and listening. Yeah, and that's what I loved about the whole family. Like, it was tough, for them to talk about their father, or for them to talk to their father at a picture. It was kind of tough. The sister didn't want to do it, and the Iana was like, "Y'all are runners, and your mother got y'all this way." And the mother didn't complain about it, even though the sister didn't want to do it. She got through it. She talked with Memphis about his problems, and I mean, Iana went to the fucking basis, bitch. She went to the roots. She went to the roots of all of his problems, and that's the death of his father and the things that he does to cope with the death of his father, and that's through drugs, with marijuana, coke, anger, like everything. That's the bottom line of all of his anger. And even though he knows that he's grown, when he's in these outbursts, we don't know what state of mind he's in or what type of drug he's on, but it's still not an excuse for him to do what he's done to women and then deny it. If you did these things, you need to admit what you did. You need to own up to it.
And that's part of the healing process.
Yes. And you still owe an apology. And then when he's talking about the ex-girlfriends, Iana's like, do you know that you're making yourself the victim? Like, you're not the victim. You were the victimizer. To the real victims. And, she made him sit in that. She dug a hole and buried him and told him, you found who you did.
But in his mind, he's still trying to portray this good guy image, because he had me fooled. He definitely had me fooled. Not saying that I believed him about the whole K. Michelle thing, because I don't. I believe her. But he was coming off as
the way he can talk.
Yes, man. Yes, everything was yes, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. But at some point, I was thinking to myself, this guy is not. He's not really. It's good that he was able to let out that emotion, but he still ain't all the way there, because he's still not fully able to release all of that. Because a lot of men don't like to do that. But it's such a beautiful thing when you can let all of that out. And one of the reasons why men don't like to do that, because they're taught at a young age not to show their emotions, not to cry. You know what I mean? But that's not helping them when they get older, because when they get older, they have all this built up anger, and then they let it out in the wrong way. But watching him, I just felt as though, he's not 100% there, because when the whole rehab thing came about, his whole facial expression changed. And in his mind, I ain't got no problem.
Yeah.
I'm not addict. I don't have a problem. And then when he said, he's going to do it, I told my friend, I said, please don't do that. Yeah. And then at the end, when he said, so was I. I said, I can't wait till this thing come up and say, and then I said, yes, I told you he's not going, this is not, he was just doing it just to make his mom and everybody else feel good. But in reality, those drugs are what's helping him. And he's so far into the drugs that in his mind, I'm not an addict. Because a lot of people look at addicts as people who are strung out, TV missing. But you can be some functional, fly addicts out there. But he doesn't see it that way, and it's very unfortunate. But hopefully he does finally realize it. Hopefully he does come to his senses. Because if not, you won't see him on one of these celebrity rehab shows or whatever the case may be, or you'll probably see him in jail somewhere.
And I think it's still going to take a long time, because it doesn't have a grieving place to go for his father. For me, I've never been to my father's grave.
Did you go to the funeral?
I went to the funeral. His funeral was 15 years ago. I remember the day was March 1st, 2003, in Georgetown, South Carolina. I remember it was so sunny that morning, and I had to go to one of these local stores like Wawa or something, because I didn't have a suit or a black shirt. I couldn't fit one on my head, so I had to just wear a black shirt and slacks and stuff like that. And it was so sunny before going, and then when I tell you it rained like I never seen rain before, it rained and it rained and it rained. I mean, out the funeral, all you heard was thunder. And I'm trying to get my thoughts out talking about my father and yes, and I'm angry. I'm just like I had like so much inside, and it rained so bad.
I'll eat later then.
Like, well, we can't go to the burial ground, right?
I'll eat later.
That's usually it is like we can't go to the burial ground, and everybody just gonna go to the repast.
So you didn't go to the burial ground because the rain halted everything. You were leaving soon. That's why
we left that Monday. They just like we're gonna bury him later tonight or however they did it. I don't even know.
Probably not that day. They probably waited until the next day until that Monday.
Yeah, because it stopped raining, but this was like hours after it. Like all I could do was just sit at the funeral and just be sad.
Who did you go down there with?
I went down there with my aunt, who was his sister, my uncle, who's no longer with us. It was a bunch of us. Like the close, like all my dad brothers and sisters that's still alive went. We drove down from Philly to South Carolina. That's where everybody's from. The main Simmons family in that area,
and that's where they buried him.
Yeah, most of the only one, and that's just another situation. Who's not down there? But everybody.
Did he die in South Carolina, or did he die?
He actually died in Florida.
He was living in Florida.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, and that's he died from a brain aneurysm. So that was just like out of nowhere, and it was snowing real bad. So nobody just couldn't get on the plane to go. Yes, and I remember that Sunday morning. At that time, my room was across the hall. My mom was telling me what happened, and then but the snowstorm was coming. Like it was like nothing you could do. And I had never been on no plane or anything like that. And then I was told that I would have to make the decision to pull the plug, and I guess why you? Because I was the oldest in the
you're the oldest
in contact. Well, I do have an older sister, but they don't know where she was at. Yeah.
So you're the one that made.
So I told my uncle that to let. But I know that my brothers and sisters on their way down there. But I don't even talk about that stuff. But they tried to do whatever they could to save him, and they couldn't. Yeah. So it was.
How old was it?
My dad was 47. 47 years old. Yeah, so I'd be like, that close your part. Like, once I get to the grave, because I haven't been to Georgetown in 15 years, but I know once I go down there, that's exactly where I'm going, to the cemetery. So, I know. And then you can take your anger out in many ways, and that, for me, it led to, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I'm just opening up. It just led to a depression for me, not no drinking depression, but I was supposed to graduate high school in 2002. So, I thought I failed 3 classes. I only failed 2, so that meant I could have went to summer school and got my 2 credits and got my diploma and all of that stuff, but I didn't. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just go to night school and I'll just get my diploma in 2003. So I was going to night school at Mansion, and when he died, I just couldn't get out my bed. I couldn't go off my room. I just was like, oh no, I ain't even worried about this school stuff. Like it was just bad. Then I realized that, okay, I'm 18 and nobody wants to give me a job because I am not a high school graduate. So I'm like, oh, I got to get my shit together. So I did what I had to do. Then I waited those months to get my diploma, and I found a job, and I loved that job. I worked there 3.5 years, and then I started doing this. But I did go into a depression. And sometimes I be I get upset like I can't never have like I would love to have a beer with my dad, or I love like hearing stories with you and your father. And something like, damn, I wish I had a father. I had one, but he's just no longer here. So that's why I say you gotta really appreciate the parent or both your parents, because you just never know. And it's frustrating. I'm gonna tell you, it's frustrating as fuck right now.
It still doesn't negate the fact that he's going to a nursing home and he keeps getting on my nerves.
That's not right. I don't really think none of your family members are in this at all.
No, none of our family members. No.
They get
My family would kill me. You figure that, right? No, I wouldn't dare. I just say it as a joke because one of my favorite shows, Golden Girls, Dorothy would always threaten her mom with putting her back in the home. So I always found that funny and glorification. But no, I wouldn't put my parents in this home. I think I told you one of my aunts, one of my mom's sisters suffered from dementia. And my cousin and my cousin's daughter, my cousins, they're taking care of, my aunt. They put their mother and grandmother in the nursing home right now. So they're taking care of. I forget who I was. I was explaining to my friend, but he asked me yesterday. We were talking about it. He asked me, and I was telling him that dementia it does run on my side in my family. My grandfather, my mother's father, he had his mother, which is my great grandmother. She had dementia, and she actually lived to be 93. She died a year before my grandmother passed away. But when my grandfather died, her son, it's funny because my aunt will tell me the story, because my family's silly, okay? Silly. You come around us, we can get it time. So when my grandfather passed, the day of the funeral, they were all on their way to my church, St. Joseph's, for his funeral. And my aunt said that her and one of my uncles, they were all in the limousine, because they had several limousines, and they were in a limousine with my grandfather's mother. And at that time, she was suffering from dementia. And so she asked them, while they were on their way to the funeral, where we come. It's funny. It's not funny, but it's funny because my family way put it. And she said, well, where are we going? And my uncle said, we're going to Otis' funeral. And she said, who's Otis? Not realizing that it was her son. Whatever case may be, they said they just laughed and lightened the mood because it was so sad. They said it just lightened the mood, whatever case may be. But that dementia, it really does, because my grandmother's sister, mine, just passed away recently. She was in her early stages of dementia as well. And I remember telling her son, I'm so happy that she passed when she did, because I couldn't imagine seeing her like that. Oh, I couldn't imagine seeing her like that, especially because she was so independent. I just couldn't imagine seeing her like that. But a lot of times that stroke does that to you, and it'll halt your memory, and your memory starts to, it's like, wow, it's such a sad thing, but
you can regain some memory, but you have to be able to want to do the work.
Yeah, extensive therapy and all that, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough when you have someone that's being defiant. That's just tough. I don't know, when I get old, I don't want to be like that. But then again, when you set in your ways and you're used to being such an independent person, it's a frustrating thing to have somebody help you do everything.
And see, you have some senior citizens that they are in the process of a lot, like for instance, not my mother's sister, my grandmother's sister, that's when I died. She was in her early stages of dementia. She knew she had it. And she had medicine for it, to take. But I was talking to one of my cousins, and one of my cousins said, the thing about her is, my aunt was such a well-put woman that she always had everything scheduled out. And my cousin was telling me, if you called her at a certain time of the day, she was always doing such and such at the exact same time. And she said, no telling throughout those hours what she was doing or how she was doing it in that house by herself. And I remember she was telling me that one day her grandson had came over, and he came over, she was sitting in front of the TV, and he went upstairs to his thing, and he left out the house, and a couple hours later, she was still sitting there, but when he came back, the TV was off, and she was just still sitting there. But my cousin was saying that was because she probably was sitting in the house one day, never took none of her medicine for the dementia, and was just sitting. And because her grandson, he was just in and out. He didn't realize that, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's why I say, too, you have to make sure you check up on your elderly relatives. Because a lot of senior citizens, once they start to age and they get into that stage of dementia, a lot of them know, but they don't want to tell you because they're afraid that you may put them in a home. And that's the last thing they want to go to is a home. They don't want to go to a home because that takes away their independence. They don't want nobody looking after them, like you said. They don't want nobody helping them. They want to still do everything on their own. And if you can take care of your family, you keep home, you take care of them. But if you can't, then, that's why those places are there. And don't feel guilty about it, because I remember my pastor's sister, she felt very guilty when they had to put their mom in a nursing home. But it was like all of y'all work. And not only does your mom have dementia, but now she had one of her legs amputated. So she's like an amputee and with dementia. So it's like you have to do what you have to do. But she just felt like, people would look at her as a bad daughter. And it's like, no one's not going to look at you like that. You took taking care of your mom all these years. You have to, if that's where you have to put her, then that's where you have to put her. But it's just unfortunate. And a lot of senior citizens, you have to check up on, because if you don't, they will be slowly dying right in front of us, and you won't even know what's going on until it's too late. And you're like, well, how the hell didn't I see him? You're like, well, the signs were there. It wasn't the right man at the time. That's all that is.
So that's what we're going. I'm glad I made it through that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did too, because now you're leaving something.
Yeah. Bruno Mars. So there's a video by the Grapevine TV where they discussed Bruno Mars
training game.
Wow, what's going on?
What's poppin'? What's good? You just mad because I get bigger than you.
I'm sure you know.
I've never seen it.
You're a fan of the girls.
This is my friend. I've never seen it.
Not yet?
No, I don't want to see it.
Tell him to text you a picture.
I tell you, we don't get down like that. Me and my friends, so don't you dare.
That's that friend. So,
getting the point though. God, walking on the first one.
Tell me about that. I need to look into that. How to do it?
She's getting them.
How to get the coins?
Just on that ass. I'm getting them like this. Suck that ass.
And it's an Instagram account that they have.
No, it's her page. Oh, yeah.
But they pay to get access to her Snapchat.
Yeah, but not just that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even look at that part.
Yeah, that part.
Hello? Yeah. So on the Grapevine TV, they talked about Bruno Mars culturally appropriating music of black origins, I believe. And I watched the video. It was a 45-minute two-part video, to like 25 minutes each video. And I mean, it got heated, and they almost had a fight in the video, all of that stuff. I'm just going to say this. Music is supposed to be enjoyed by all listeners. Music, like people who create music from the past, people who create music today, music is supposed to inspire. And it's supposed to inspire people from all walks of life, whether black, white, Asian, Latino, freaking, like, wherever you're from, music is supposed to inspire. So if someone finds inspiration in a music genre and they want to do that music genre, I find nothing wrong with it. Music does not have a color, yes, or a race. It might be popular because it's done by a particular race, but it's someone who is, I think that Bruno Mars is also a minority. He is not even a part of the majority. So if Bruno Mars is a minority himself, how can he be culturally appropriating music of black origins? And plus, Bruno Mars grew up listening to doo-wop, jazz, all the blues, all of that stuff. And he makes excellent music, and he's a great entertainer. How can you not love what he do?
I came across this video of Bruno Mars as a child when I was sitting in show, and he was called the youngest Elvis.
Personally, yes.
I remember seeing that, and I came across trying to figure out Bruno Mars. He's from Hawaii.
Yeah,
trying to figure out his origin.
Yeah, he's his father is Puerto Rican or something, and his mother is Italian or something. And you don't have to, if you got Puerto Rican and you got Spanish lines and you have African roots. I've always
his father is a black man. His father is half Puerto Rican and half I can't pronounce this
What
word.
is it? Ashkenazi Jew.
Ashkenazi Jew, Jewish descent from Ukraine, Hungary. That's his father, and he's originally from Brooklyn, New York. His mother immigrated from the Philippines to Hawaii as a child and was a Filipino and some Spanish ancestry. So Bruno Mars has a lot of stuff in him. Yeah, he's black. Yeah, he's a minority. Yes, he's a minority. Yes. Because let me tell you, and we're a minority. When it comes to them and us, anybody who's not them is a minority. Yeah, and he's a minority to them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because he gonna get a tip if he was driving the car. And I know he's a minority because he dances. He dances just like us. And he got rhythm. Yes. And Beyonce not gonna just dance with anybody. No. You better know how to entertain something, okay? Bruno Mars said, Uptown Funk you up. Uptown Funk. Hey, what? Yeah, say the fuck what? And I think that it's fine with him if he wants to do new James. When people take stuff from like remake old stuff all the time, and his music he has an incredible music library. There's not one corny Bruno Mars album. But not only that, if anybody is going to do it, shout out to Bruno Mars because Bruno Mars, he's entertainment. He is good at what he does. You know that if he's going to do it, it's going to be good. And it's not just for the moment. Like, like you just okay. It's like Bruno Mars is one of those artists that you be like, I am so proud to just like him. Yeah, I really am because it's like when you watch him, you can't help but to smile because it's like I don't think I've ever since seeing him ever seen a bad performance of his. I don't think I have. No, me neither. I've never seen a bad performance of his. I mean, it was questionable performing Perm at the BET Awards, but it still wasn't a bad performance. Yeah, but I didn't question it, so that's bad. I didn't question it. Excuse the shit out of it. I didn't question it. So that's that. People question Beyonce at the inauguration, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I didn't question it. It was her. And that's all that matters. But anyway, like I was saying, Bruno Mars, when you see him, he's always having fun on the stage. He's always on, like he's just, that's just Bruno Mars. Yes. And then they have a good time doing it. Like even if, like to me, it don't even seem like when I'm watching him, it doesn't even seem like this is a rehearsed performance. It seems like this him and his homies just on that stage and they just killing it. And I feel like Bruno Mars, if this was the 80s, Bruno Mars would be perfect for one of those Flashdance movies. Yeah. Like he would be perfect for that because he's so awesome. And I think that people criticizing him about this cultural appropriation or whatever the hell it's just taking a culture that's popular by the minority and you just, you know. But Bruno Mars is a minority. Yeah, he is. But I mean, father is Puerto Rican. Yeah, I mean, the one girl, and that's one of the things that went viral that made me want to watch it. She was like, everybody that knows me know I hate Bruno Mars. If he died, I would make a cake the next day or something like that. What's that about? First of all, you don't even know him to say that and to have that much hate in your heart for someone. Well, she's black or white. She was black and spelled with an Asian name, mind you. And then she was going off saying like, is she somebody who's a karaoke singer? I don't know who she is. It just said like sensei something like that. I don't know all these people. What it is it's not even a round table, bitch. It's a room that had like 20 people in it, all giving their opinion with one moderator. That was my first time watching the Grapevine TV. It's the Grapevine TV, but it's on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel. Let me tell you something. I don't think I would have been able to sit in a room with somebody who said something like that. Like, what did he do to you? The discussion would have went left from it. Because once I would have heard her say that, I would say, well, what did he ever do to you for you to say something like that? If he died the next day, I'd bake a cake. You know what? If you died the next day, nobody would care. At least they care about him. Yeah. She went, you can leave this room and nobody's not going to remember you. Yeah, then she's like, he went album of the year, Prince never went album of the year. What does that have to do with anything? Different time. But what does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with anything. I never won album of the year either. So, what's your point? Because Prince didn't win and he won, then that somehow means that he's, you know. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of great opinions in that room, but that one was the one that really stuck out to me because it was so filled with hate that I couldn't believe that was coming out someone's mouth and they're just okay with saying that in front of all those people. And that video went viral, and girl, now people just, people look for your past and look at something that you've done.
and they're gonna come for you and exploit it.
But they're not really because nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody's not gonna care about her.
I don't really. It was just I was upset, and then it's just like
to say about somebody. It really is. Like you say, if they die, I think peak tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we can see when people clearly are using things just because they have. Now, sometimes not inspired. Sometimes some people just all the way copy. Like Miley Cyrus was not really no hip hop enthusiast or no not fan of what she did hip hop because
that's somebody who's culturally
yes, a culture.
Yes,
okay, that's her. Now, someone like Madonna explored R&B like in '95, and then she went off and did like she had some hip hop beats on Hard Candy, but that's not someone that's just like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna do this album, and Madonna's like always been a trendy bitch. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like she always changes up at the time. And I'm gonna get Pharrell and Kanye on it. They want to do some great music, and I still listen to it today. And that came out 10 years ago. It's an awesome album. But yeah, like some people just still, and some people are inspired. Bruno Mars has been inspired by this sound for so long, and he's so natural with it.
Right.
So bless you. Thank you. I know I didn't cover my mouth to make sure it went to the ground. But Bruno Mars is everything. It's like something stuck in my nose. Like I've been doing some cleaning, so it's a lot of dust there.
You've been cleaning. Oh, you actually have. Wow, I didn't even notice. You know when you're so used to seeing something jump out.
That's what I told them yesterday on Instagram. I said, bitch, this one was mess. What you doing?
And one of my friends had to tell me when you get on the next time you get on live, turn the camera on.
No, you better not.
I'll tell you. Because I want to see how junky Bruno is.
Oh, why y'all spying on us like that? Us! That's what I mean. Yeah, well, Bruno Mars, keep doing your goddamn thing. And Bruno Mars is going on tour with Cardi B, so I'm sure he don't care what y'all think is going to be naturally appropriate. Okay. So I want y'all to get tickets to that.
That Hawaiian and that Puerto Rican are going to be on that stage. And Lord knows, that is going to be
and then Cardi B tips, and who knows if they're going to be performed together. And her album drops in April. She said it last night. She thanked her haters. I know that's right. I don't watch I heard music was. I thought the voice season was over. But clearly.
Well, listen to this. Well, are we done talking about them? Or you did?
We done talking about them. I was trying to usher it into a tour. Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's not my heart was saying. Talking about a tour.
Yes, I feel so stuck up. Beyonce and Jay-Z this morning officially announced that they were going on tour, the On the Run Tour Part 2. And tickets go on sale, I believe, starting this Wednesday for pre-sales and stuff like that. But the main tickets go on sale next Monday, which is March 19th at 10 a.m. And the tour starts overseas, and then during the summer they're coming over here. I don't know exact tour dates, but I know they're going to be.
All I know is that they're coming to Philadelphia
July
the 30th of July. Now the tour dates are out because I haven't seen tour dates floating around. They are out, and apparently I saw a diagram of what the stadium's supposed to look like with the stage and everything. And apparently they're going to have. You know how Beyonce had that one long runway for which to take tour that came out? Well, they're going to have two long runways this time coming out from the main stage. I'm so excited. I was reading up a little bit about the tour, and I remember I have to give it. Can I just say I have to give it to you because you did tell me a while ago that it doesn't matter what Beyonce is doing. She's going to go on tour because she can do anything because she's Beyonce. And I kept saying, no, but she's going to take time. And you kept saying, no, she's Beyonce. She can do it. Yep. And you're right. And you're absolutely right. I kept forgetting who I was standing for.
Yeah. I also had a dream that Beyonce was going on tour like 2 weeks ago. And I posted on my Instagram. And then that story came out, like, woke me up. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then today was like the confirmation.
So I'm happy. I'm happy too because I went to the original On the Run tour. You did too.
Yes.
I went to the original On the Run tour.
Couldn't see shit, but I was there.
I was there. That was a tour where I think that was the tour where I actually sat by myself. Or I think I sat.
Bought a ticket.
I bought a ticket, and then I was able to sell that ticket that I bought and buy another one that was even closer. So I ended up being like kind of like by myself. And I had a fucking ball. I had so much fun. Like,
Go ahead,
yeah.
It's something tickling my fucking nose.
Yeah. Don't act like you're not used to things.
Keep going.
So I'm excited because it's like,
but I don't know what to expect.
Let me tell you something. So, like I said, I was reading up on it, and basically, it was basically. Can I just show you? I'm just going to show you. I'm going to read this little thing that I found today regarding the tour.
When you find out, make sure it's a legit source.
No, it's nothing bad. It's just basically saying, okay. So basically, the tour is a combination of this, because I know a lot of people are saying that, does this mean that Beyonce's coming out with new music? I still don't think she's coming out with new music.
They're going to tell these stories.
But they're going to tell their story. They're going to tell, like they did on the first On the Run, they told their story. This time, they're going to tell their story with 444 and Lemonade. And I remember Jay-Z did an interview a few months ago where he was talking about, before Beyonce came out with Lemonade, him and Beyonce were actually working on a joint album.
Yeah.
But then she decided to go off and do her own thing with Lemonade. So his whole thing was, well, if she going to do her own thing, let her do it. Because that's, and I love how he put it, that's her truth. Let her tell her truth. It's a little shady. But I loved it. Because it was like, listen, I'm not admitting to nothing. Just gonna let her tell her truth. And now you get to see both albums, 444 and Lemonade, come together on one stage. And it's amazing because we all know that both of those albums are, you know, they are intertwined in some way. So it's going to be great to see how the songs are going to flow. Because I remember on the Run tour, each song that each one of them did, it was like she would perform and then one of her songs would go right into one of his songs. It was like, wait, that's so crazy how.
See, I don't really know all the Jay-Z songs like that and all his raps and stuff like that, but I enjoy watching him as a performer.
Mm-hmm.
But I do hope that they do stuff that maybe something new. Like if they do the 444 Lemonade, I hope they release something new. Maybe some tracks or something. Maybe 8 tracks, something. Do something. But I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see these ticket prices as well. And that will determine if I'm going to wait for the HBO special or not.
Bro, you know you going. Don't even say you're going to determine if you're going to wait for the special.
I know.
We're all going to be there. Let me tell you something. When Jay-Z and Beyonce comes to Philly, everybody shows.
It's an event. It's like for every city, it's a holiday.
Yes.
That's all you see on Instagram. People getting their hair done, men getting their haircuts, outfits, shoes.
The drug dealers are going to be there, and I'm not talking about the ones, the
what they coming in for?
I'm talking about the drug. They're going to be their main girls that night, and no, but it's an event. Especially when they come to Philly. It's an event, because everybody that you can think of be at
the whole city is at the show. I might be in the Northeast this time, but I'm going to be there.
Listen,
there's no bad seat inside the Lincoln Financial Field.
And that's where they're going to be at this time. The first time they were in the first baseball stadium,
I couldn't see from the baseball. The baseball stadium is too big.
Well, the Lincoln is big too.
It's big, but it's close because it's a football stadium. Baseball stadium got that big wide diamond and it's close. So yeah,
this is going to be fun. I cannot wait. Jay-Z and Beyonce said, "Oh, y'all put y'all going to enjoy your taxes."
Yes, again, right for them.
Right in the middle of Texas.
They're coming for them. And I'm surprised it was not a Destiny Child tour.
I'm excited.
I'm surprised. For 20 years.
I know.
So maybe she's not 20 years.
10. It's been 21 years. 12 years.
No, I mean like just Destiny's Child.
Oh, since they've been out.
Yes. Because that's a whole other tour. Like, remember how she told her story when she did the Rosewood Ballroom? Like, they could do a tour telling their own story, bitch, and make money from it. Let me shut my mouth. Let me shut up!
It's true!
Anyway, yeah, it's true! And even LaTavia and Latoya joined the tour.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to be so excited on this On the Run tour. I've even officially changed my ad on Instagram, so it's now the On the Run tour.
I've seen it.
But it's the one for the Philadelphia date. A lot of people are like, well, which shows do I want to go to? Me personally, come to Philly. Everybody knows that the Philly crowds are always on. Come to Philly, have a good time, enjoy yourselves. I'm just excited because Beyonce is going back on tour. Back on tour. And we all know that when Beyonce goes on tour, it is a wrap. I like how now they've got to the point now that they release tour, they tell you they're going on tour 2 days before the tickets go out.
Yeah, that's why it's also important to have some money in the bank if you're a Beyonce stand.
Yeah,
because you just never know when it's time. A bill might not get paid this month.
there's gonna be a lot of bills that don't get paid for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And it's become a norm.
Yeah, I'm just mad that Beyonce waits. Like, I want to get a ticket.
I miss the days when Beyonce used to announce a tour 1 month before they went on sale.
Yeah.
Like you had a whole month to prepare. Now she's got to the point, I'm so big, I can tell you I'm going on tour today, that tomorrow tickets going to sell. And people will buy it.
But you know, the crazy thing is, like, if you don't have the ticket money, there's people out there that buy tickets and then resell them for ridiculous prices.
Yes.
Like, and I hate that.
Well, that's where StubHub came about.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get tickets anyway. So if you're going to be local in that 10 a.m., bitch, you think you get tickets your phone. So it's like, it's the luck of the draw. Who's going to get you internet connection is the best. So now that you have 5, 6 computers, you won't be getting a ticket yet. You have to just wait. Like, let me get my ticket and then you can get yours. Yeah, I mean, and so it's just July 30th is a Monday.
It's alright.
Why y'all keep coming on like weekdays?
It's alright.
I'm on the weekend.
First of all, you don't work, so it doesn't matter. I work. I ain't the one complaining. You ain't work.
Yo, I like a week. Ain't nothing like
too.
Ain't nothing like going to a weekend show.
I didn't go to the club. Yeah. So you know what that nigga coming to work with? The 30th. That's a holiday. What holiday?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get a ticket to see Janet that weekend. She's going to be performing in New York at this Panorama Music Festival, and SZA's going to be there, so I get to see her live. And I'm really warmed up to her. Like, I like her shit a little bit. And I'm not a stand though. I just like some of it because I'm just going to have to accept that R&B is just moving in a different direction, and I'm just being left behind by all a lot of musicians or singers, not singers, but singers. This time I said, bitch, Nick Gordon got arrested. I don't really care, but bitch, did you see his eyebrows?
Did I? Did you? I'm trying to figure out who did a witness for Bobby Christina. Somebody that man's out because they were heavily arched. And I even.
I just couldn't believe it. Listen, God.
Well, we all know Nick Gordon is. I don't know who plays. He must got both sides of the pond. He got some damn because he is not a looker.
These girls is crazy.
He's not a looker.
Before these crazy stuff, you know,
he seems to be a little challenged upstairs.
Well, and then yeah, he just
preferred that because even when he was on that show with Bobby Christina, he seemed a little crazy on there too. They all look crazy.
And y'all gotta admit it.
Yeah, but why would Sissy let them do that?
Sissy had no control. I told y'all about that one. I ain't want to predict that one, but that was crazy. Like, you better respect your grandma.
Yeah, it was coming. It was coming.
Her grandma, it's not like she didn't try.
Yeah, she did try. She tried.
Once you get, first of all, she had a certain age anyway. Yeah. But like,
she tried with Whitney too. Yeah. She tried with Whitney and learn. You know, Whitney wanted to still do her own thing. And it's very sad, but you know what? Yeah, I'm just tired of, I think I told y'all this on a live before, but I am so tired of all these Whitney Houston documentaries and films and movies. Yeah. It's starting to get to the point where, like, I know we all love Whitney, but damn, like, chill. Let her rest.
Yes. Like, I'm so tired of all these different stories. Like this network, Lifetime got a movie coming out. BET got a Bobby Brown story talking about Whitney Houston. Another Lifetime story about Whitney and Bobby. TV One wants in the game. Showtime wanted in the game. That looks like everybody wants a part of Whitney Houston. As long as they're in the state is getting the money. You know, they're talking, yeah, this story, this documentary, you're going to hear this music that you never heard before. And then Whitney Houston's can't keep releasing the same music over and over. Just, this one has auto-tune, this one doesn't have auto-tune, this is acapella, this is acapella. Stop it. And then, it's reminding me of this Selena stuff. Like when Selena died, like how many times can you rehash this Selena stuff? before it's too much. Yeah, I'm glad that his family has done that. You're right. Before they gave one album and then said, "Bitch, all right, now y'all gonna miss her. If we want to give you up tracks, we'll give it to you." And it's just a little bit too much. Let Whitney rest in peace. It's not doing too. I'm sorry. They don't get mad. Like this Michael Jackson don't even have this much shit coming out. No, because I don't think his family is playing that. I don't think they are. No, if you want to go back to movie, you won't be using his music. You sure won't. There's something going to have to get. Something's going to have to get. You can do a movie, but you won't do the music. They'll never had Deborah Cox do Whitney's voice, but she sounded amazing. And she's doing the Bodyguard soundtrack. She's doing the Bodyguard, the play. She's going all over. Look at Ben's bald head. Look at that big bald. Like, you really don't. That is not to be trusted. You don't like her at all. No. She reminds me of certain people right now. Like, this fake phoniness. Like, I'm not saying I'm married. It's just like, oh. No, I'm not. It's just fake phony. Fake phony. I think we're going to be able to fix our life. Ooh, Pat. Because I know Pat doing guilty. Whitney and Bobby, Christina, but she's not going to say. She's not going to publicly say. She's not going to publicly say what people are feeling. Because then she don't want people to say, "See, I told you so." Because you are an enabler, and you are. I'm just with that. I don't know. You just pulling up. Well, that is our show for this week. I mean, not for this week, bitch. We coming back this week. That's all the topics? It can't be. Yeah, I mean, nothing really happening this weekend. The time changed. Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. That was a recipe for disaster, though, Kevin. This right here was a recipe for disaster. Yeah. It was. Yeah, out of all of them. Well, I don't want him to die. Me neither, but that was a recipe for disaster. Drugs made it a recipe for disaster. At one point, they all sit in that room and died. Which is sad. And when his sister came out with that picture of that bathroom, that was even more sad. Yes. So at first I thought it was fake. I did. At first I thought it was fake. But then when it was confirmed that it was real, I was like, wow. Oh, well, yeah. The other story, which I didn't get a chance to watch, American Idol came back. The Shy. Oh my God, The Shy was amazing, but I'm going to talk about that on Thursday. I want to talk about my show real quick too. I told y'all last week the show that I'm now addicted to on Netflix, Girl Incarcerated. I watched that shit when I tell you. These are nothing but young girls just jealous and dumb. They think they're the shit and they're not. And they remind me of people who have behaved first of all, and they are glorifying this horrible scam. Yes. And their parents. Have you seen their parents? Oh my God. I don't know who's going to drug the parents of the children. This is why that happened. And I'm trying to figure out why aren't the parents in jail? Yeah. Because some of the parents need to be in jail. Yeah. How about one girl you see you probably get to that point. I don't know if you got I don't think you got to the point. Yeah, it was so sad. You gotta get a little further because this one girl is a new black girl that just arrived. She thinks she's hot shit. No, it's the opposite. She's older than them. She's 17. She's older than them, and she's very, very mature. She actually checked herself in. She accidentally killed her friend. Oh, it's so sad. The story's so sad. She got into a car accident, and she went off the road, and their car flipped, and there was 3 of them in the car, and one of her friends was killed. She blamed herself. The girl's family didn't blame her. It was an accident. Everybody's letting her know it was an accident, and it was. But she blames herself, and she blames herself to the point that she feels as though she should be punished. So she checked herself into this place, and while she's there, she's trying to get the other girls to say, "Listen, y'all need to chill out and grow up." But some of the girls are like, "Oh, she thinks she's better than Well, I mean, she is better than us because her head is on, and she knows. But it broke my heart because it's like, you don't belong there. And you know how on the show they have the purple and the burgundy shirt. So when she got there, the guards immediately gave her a burgundy shirt because she's such a well-behaved girl. And it's like, it was so unfortunate of the situation, but she was explaining like, I feel like I need to be punished because of my friend dying. And like, I just felt like I got off the hook. And even though everybody's letting her know it was an accident, it's not your fault, but she checked herself and it's so sad. Like,
But to me, the show. But I'm trying to figure out why all the white girls, all girls incarcerated, have bad skin the way they do. Their faces are horrible. Sometimes I can't even look. It's just a red. And then they
talk when you don't have Christian money.
Yeah, and then they talk so much shit.
They talk like they're black too.
They just talk about how they want to fuck this one up and fuck that one up, and everybody's bro this, bro that. I don't get it. And everybody's sexy. And these baggy. Did you get to the part with the little black girl whose parents abandoned her there?
Yes, I got to. That's like the third episode.
I think so. No, I think you're right.
Because they like the lady and her, they was leaving around the same time or something like that. It's a girl. It's a girl and the teacher. She's like, oh, I'm leaving too. Like,
oh no, you're talking about Chrissy.
Oh, the other one.
I'm talking about who's short. She's the youngest one. She's a little chubby, going this.
Yeah, but I heard her talk about. I talked to my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah,
they did make it look real sad.
Yeah, but her family has abandoned her. But then another episode was when the teacher was wrong for this. The teacher said to her, because everybody in the school basically knows like the man.
Yeah.
And one of her and the teacher was arguing, and the teacher said to her, "Well, I guess I'll see you on Christmas. I guess I'll see you at Christmas, so you can tell me that you need mints and gloves." And that tricked the girl, because the girl was like, "Bitch, you know that I was a band-aid. You know I'm supposed to be here on Christmas, so you tried." So and then the teacher was sitting there looking stupid, like she didn't know what she had just said to her. Yeah, of course, you know. Because that's they get away with that. And they, they're real slick with their mouths. Until you tell them meet me outside, then hold the threat. Then it's a threat once you tell them to meet me outside. You know what I mean? That's what they do. But I love the show. But my friend just sent me this trailer to the show. First of all, can I just applaud Netflix? They are on the money. They really are. He just sent me this trailer to this show called Strong Island.
Oh, I seen that.
Don't tell me.
I seen that. I have to say this. First of all, I didn't even know that the director of it, the person doing the documentary, I didn't even know she was trained in the middle. I just thought,
wait, because as I was watching it, and wait a minute, I haven't said, no, wait, you haven't gotten it yet.
Can I just say this? Listen, I have accepted women being butched to the point where I don't even look at them like as trans. I just think like, but she's a trans in them. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
Yes, because when I was watching, I was listening to the voice, because in the beginning, when you watch the trailer, you hear the voice. So I'm thinking like, oh, his sister is explaining the story. And then when they show it, I'm thinking like, wait, is this the person who the story's about? But then I realized that, no, my brother, and I'm thinking like, wait, what's going on?
Yes, I'm going to tell you all this. You're going to, first of all, the mother telling the story, you're going to fall in love with that. You're going to be mad in the beginning. You're going to love it during the middle. And then once it gets like 75% of the show, you're going to be mad at her.
Who, the mother?
No, yeah, because I was mad at the secret. It's like, oh my, wait till y'all see it, because once you hear the secret, right, you want to think like, I want to put myself in her shoes, like, all the stuff that happened from that time to now probably could have been avoided if I said something.
Yeah, all right, don't say nothing. Don't say no more. Please don't say no more.
I'll get mad. Yeah, watch it. And it was nominated for an Oscar, so.
Yeah, it was. I saw it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, watch it. Oh, I'm gonna watch it at work.
But the mother, she ain't playing no game. I like her.
Shout out to Netflix. Because why didn't he care anymore? Netflix is on the ball.
Yes.
They really are.
I'm gonna find out how we're gonna cut this cable to them. Yeah, Verizon is making too much money. Like, it's really, literally, cable phone and internet, it's like $300 a month. Yeah. So, if we could cut that, because I see that $45 stuff on TV, but I don't want to, everybody don't know how to use the internet. I'm talking to other people. Like, so it's like,
but you know what's
going on. Yeah. But you already have.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, you're right. The third
stuff.
The blonde leading the bun.
So, I gotta make sure. You see, when you go to say, you're gonna fix it. Look on the figure.
That's what I'm taking him.
Oh, man, I had. Oh.
What's that? Who
sit still before I start editing and fall asleep on rest of my life.
Baby! Strong fucking island. Girls incarcerated. Those little girls is out of fucking control. Did you get to the moment when the little girl said, I want to have a body like Nicki Minaj? Yes! I said, do you see? Oh, me and Kevin. You're an adult and you're looking at these children. And I said, do you see your face? You just look at, see, this is what happens when you don't raise your children. And we are having, when the system and drugs, and our school system is doing bad. And then we got people like, they just bending the law. Did you see how hard? They asked her, all got together. They asked her, well, how you visit? Yeah, she bad school. No, I have visited. And it's not my intention was, yeah, maybe I should visit. Yeah, no, but you should. You always visit the bad school. You compliment the good schools. You know, you say like, I want this school to be as good as that. But they're not going to visit bad schools because they want everything to seem so peachy keen, and they want to take credit. Yeah, and she wants to take money out of the public school system and send it to to parochial schools and private schools and all of that stuff because they're the schools that's doing good. So if you're already failing and fucking up, like why even keep putting money into something? So why would she go to these bad schools? That's what she would. And she doesn't care. She has too much money. First of all, you got to think about this. Like, isn't she a billionaire? Her husband, yeah, her husband is an heir to one of these $1 million companies. Yes, $1 million. Yeah, he has billions. But I don't know if she's worth that much. But yeah, it's just like she's married to the man. Yeah, so she's married to the man. Well, with his search. Yeah, and just you going to school like you went to Parkland High School and you didn't really do anything. You didn't sit down with the student. You said you sat down with the school newspaper. Bitch, the school newspaper don't want to hear what you have to say. Right. I mean, they're going to get so much. But how about you sit down with the teachers and the parents and let's talk about these guns. And I'm glad Florida did something. Basically, it was kind of like, we'll get some and you'll get some. And that's what they did. But it's a start somewhere. Now, if a teacher want to start carrying a gun, we really have to think about teachers just going, they need a mental evaluation too. Yes. They be going home with children, they got their favorites, and if they look the rat and they pull the gun out, it's going to be just like the cops all over again. Well, he's threatening me, he's trying to charge me, so I tried. So that's why I said the gun. People like Donald Trump, they take the size of the cops. Yeah, they don't think about the long goal. They don't think about the pros and cons. This is what happened when they said the person just go with the last person in his ear. And then he said they had a conference to talk about, you're afraid of the NRA. You're afraid of the NRA. And bitch, you don't back down on some of this thing that you said that you wanted to do in the NRA. So it's like you're afraid to they put $30 million in your pocket. Of course they're going to be running like you do. And they run these politicians too. And mind you, they only got 3 million members and they just running our country. And this is a country with 320 million citizens. Are you out your mind? Come on. It doesn't make sense. No, and that's why Donald Trump person is going to lose tomorrow. You see him come here over the weekend, and they say he's been talking shit about the person he came and support him. Donald Trump talks about himself all the time. This round is not about him. It's about how you should go through this game today. Right. Yeah. And I mean, them white folks, they eat it up. Yeah, every time. It's like a wrestling show. Like, anything you say, if it's negative or if it's not, they respond like, if it's good what you say, they'll respond real good. If it's bad, they'll boo you. They eat it up. Oh, they eat it up. It's just hard. And then he said they talk about Maxine Waters. Like, see, we can talk about all this stuff, but y'all know, I know y'all really like this. But y'all need to get into the news. If you can't watch Anderson Cooper at 8 a.m., watch CNN in the morning at 6 a.m. Yeah, I'm starting to get over Morning Joe because it's too many rounds. First of all, Mika and Joe not always there. There's too many people in the morning, and I just need Allison Camerata and Chris Cuomo, they be digging at people's asses at 6 o'clock in the morning. From 6 to 9, they dig at people's asses. And it's not all these different people having a conversation and sharing how they feel. Morning Joe really had to step up because I'm starting to stop watching. So yeah, you gotta get your news from somewhere. Find out what's going on because it's gonna affect you somehow. Especially with all the changes Donald Trump is doing. And I'm starting to not care about Stormy Daniels no more. Like, well, you said that she's offering to give back that money. But that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, she's something over dick. Like, come on. Yeah, but what they're trying to do is, but see, this is the thing. It's not necessarily really about her. It's about the campaign money, and the campaign was aware of this particular money. So, whether or not he slept with her, that doesn't really matter. I don't care about that either. And, you know, she's already come out and said, well, he didn't do anything crazy. We just slept together. Like, he didn't force me.
But why do you want to talk about it?
Well, she wants to talk about it because I guess she wants to probably, well, to be quite honest with you, maybe she wants to hold him to a higher standard the way he tries to hold people like Bill Clinton to another standard. Bitch, you're in the same boat as people like Bill Clinton and Al Franken. How dare you call them out? You know what I mean? You cheat on your wife just like they cheated on theirs. You're no different from them. And then on top of that, you have this lawyer lying for you, and then think you're using campaign money, whatever the case may be. Like, no, $130,000. Do you know what I could have done with $130,000?
I have to do a lot of that. First of all,
do you know what I would do for $130,000? That's the real question.
What you do for $130,000? What would you do?
What that commercial used to say?
What would you do for a crime night for? I'm going to buy a
the things I would have done for a Monday person. Can you imagine what I would have done for $130,000?
This is temporary money. It'll set you up with something real nice.
Yeah.
And put $130,000. Yeah. Okay. You could probably get a nice house somewhere and fix it up in Philly.
No. You can buy a nice house that is fixed up.
Some property values going up. Anyway, we're rambling on. We supposed to go 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And thank y'all for watching. We will see y'all next week. Keep saying next week. Something must happen this week. We will see y'all Thursday with a new video. Lord willing. We'll see you guys Thursday with a new video. Stay out of trouble. Try to get some sleep and catch up with the time. Don't let it kill y'all. We'll see y'all Thursday. Yeah, peace.